Billie is known for previous endeavors in Nadiacts and Fan Jersey, and is listed as a 30 under 30 in tech and 100 most creative people in business. So let me turn it over to Billie to talk to us today about experiences.
Hi everybody, my name's Billie. It's such a pleasure to be here. This is actually my first time in Tucson, so I'm really delighted. So I am the CEO and founder of a company called Wearable X. And Wearable X in 2017 was named one of Fast Company's most innovative companies in fitness. And we were delighted to be up against some of the really, really big brands. Your Nikes, your Under Armours, your Adidases, and we were all of 3 years old. So you can imagine what that did, not just to my ego, but to, I would say, my fear and my knee-jerk reaction of, oh my God, now we really have to do something amazing. So it was because we released a product called Nadiacts. Now, Nadi in Sanskrit means flow. And in fact, in one of the earlier presentations, he pronounced shoppers and I heard chakras, just because that's the way my brain works. And actually, when your chakras are aligned in the yoga practice, your nadis are activated. And they are an external form of communication that allow you to feel internal vibrations so that you can know if your alignment is correct. We know that we don't all have that ability, so what we've built is a pair of yoga leggings that have sensors built in. They have accelerometers and haptic feedback built around the hips, the knees, and the ankles that know and understand your body's orientation and provide real-time haptic feedback or vibration on the body to guide you where to focus, so that you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars going to a yoga studio or having a private instructor. The app will just let you know if you made it into the pose at the end of each pose. So I'm going to show you exactly how it works. We have a little device called a Pulse. Now this is where we keep the battery and the PCB and the Bluetooth module. This clips just behind your left knee. Now that is the one spot on the body that doesn't get in the way during yoga. It sits just in the arc when you're lying flat in Shavasana, or as I like to call it, sleep. And once you're connected via Bluetooth, you set your vibrational strength. Strangely enough, all of our customers actually use the vibrational strength at 100% because they believe that vibration on the body is really powerful for understanding where they should focus. And then you move through your pose step by step, and the vibrations guide you where to focus, and then the audio at the end lets you know if you made it or if you didn't. It is a true at-home personalized experience. My gosh, that is going to be a buzzword today. For me, it is about having this, I would say, physical experience of what your data means to you. And as we know, yes, our data is being pulled absolutely everywhere. Facebook, Google, and let's be honest, probably everyone knows more about you than you do. I was about to say one more tech company like Twitter, but I don't think people are using Twitter nearly as much. They know a hell of a lot about you, and so now the time is to actually have you empowered by your own experience in understanding your data on your body. So we built the language on the body so it varies depending on the direction you need to focus, the pose that you're working your way into. It grounds you down, it lifts you up, it rotates you around. But it's about really listening to your body for the first time using technology. I'm going to show you a quick video so you can see what it looks like and how the full process works, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about why now, why are experiences so important now? Not just for retail, but from a physical perspective of how you use your body as well. So there's some really interesting fun facts. We are spending more money going to the gym than ever before, and we are spending more time going to the gym than ever before. But strangely enough, obesity and anxiety are going to cost the US government $80 billion this year. So there is something misaligned here. We're spending money on it, we're spending time on it, but we're not really getting more fit or more healthy. So we've got to try and figure out how to make this more personal and something that actually fits into our own schedules. Now, I am by no means the only person looking in this space, which is actually a really good thing. If you haven't heard of companies like Peloton or Mirror, they are doing very much the at-home, personalized fitness experience. This is to say it is both a retail experience where they have subscription models where you pay per month to have part of this experience over and over and over again. Now that to me is where this industry becomes really, really interesting. It's not just about the data and getting you to actually physically exercise, it's about building that experience both in a physical and digital way. That isn't your traditional shopping online on a desktop, it's through an app service that's dedicated to this experience. I have a lovely, lovely tagline that sitting is the new smoking. So in fact, with that in mind, I think we should get up for just a second. If you have, you can bear with me for just a minute. Why not roll your shoulders back and down? Because in fact, just doing that increases blood flow, it reduces anxiety, and it'll actually help you digest your food properly. So you can all sit back down. I traveled what I think was quite a long way to get here. It was only from New York City, so it wasn't that far. But what I've been learning is that in the travel space, there is a huge amount of experience that is not being designed for. And it's something that we are particularly interested in. For those long haul or overnight flights, you're spending sometimes 17 hours on a plane. And that is like stillness. That is not natural for our bodies to be in that position. We believe that Nadiacts could be really useful for people who are actually trying to use this as part of their travel practice. Because our technology is invisibly integrated, it's actually very comfortable to wear. I have worn it on those 17-hour flights, and I did not even know it was there. And then because yoga can be a seated practice, it can be really minor gestures and moves that you do while you're still in the chair. You don't have to get up and run up and down the halls, although that's probably quite a fun thing to do. So why now? I talked a little bit about what's been happening in America, about the fitness industry, but again, beyond that, yoga pants have outsold denim in the US, the UK, and in Australia, and Canada, actually. That means that we are putting comfort above, I would say, style. That means that we have to look at ourselves as hopefully part of a mind-body practice. But for us, that's why we focused on this area. Vibration is a really pure and powerful form of communication. And in fact, if I'm allowed to be a hippie for a minute, everything is vibration. Both the voice that you hear, the light that you see, the object in space. It all has a vibration that carries through that you are able to either observe or not observe. I've just tapped into building that as a form of communication on the body. So really, this all stemmed from my own personal problem. I was spending way too much money going to classes. They're a minimum of $25 a class, and I was going 5 times a week. And I would go to a class with 50 other people, and they'd be sweaty and I would say pretzeling themselves next to me, and I totally lost my confidence. I wasn't getting any feedback from the instructor, and I really needed to have a better cost solution. So that's why we focused on this product, and that's why we believe this is part of a much bigger experience that is going on. But what is next, and how does this tap into, I would say, something meaningful for the customer? What we're looking at now is how we can make this for remote physiotherapy. So people can enter in their injuries, and if they have a left knee injury or a lower back pain, we can recommend to them what poses they should be working on and what ones they should not be doing, and how they should be taking it step by step to move into each pose. We're also looking at opening up the back end to their actual physiotherapist, so the physiotherapist can see and monitor if they are doing the exercises that they're being prescribed to do. What we see now is that retail is an experience. They are bringing it into the house, they are bringing it into a space. So we've been doing pop-ups, I would say, across the globe now, inside Saks, inside Selfridges, we've done our own inside Bloomingdale's, we've had our own pop-ups. Every single time, there is a physical exercise experience that you come and do with us. You then have the ability to take it home with you. So it's not just a single stop by that's the end. It's not just that one Instagrammable photo that we know is really important, but it comes back with you and it plays into your life on a daily basis. And that to me is how you actually activate change in the way people consume. We did this inside a shoe store. In fact, no one could believe that we were doing yoga inside the shoe store. We entirely transformed it, and we had 80 people doing yoga in a space in New York City. Now, has anyone even heard of Haptics before I mentioned it today? Oh yeah, a few. That's really exciting. Most of the time I have to go back to 101 and explain what haptics are. And it is a form of vibration, but it is as simple as the haptic response you get on your smartphone to the haptics that we build into clothes. This industry is expected to be worth $23 billion by 2023. It is not a small industry. It is not going anywhere. And there is a lovely other stat that there are more sensors being created now than babies born, which means that there is more data out there in the world than we know even what to do with or make meaningful to people. So I implore you, think about what your data might feel like if you were trying to make it meaningful for both you and your customers. So these are my big lessons throughout the last, in fact, it'll be 6 years next month of building technology inside apparel, is that in designing both experiences for retail and experiences for the body, you have to design for all 5 senses. And of course, I have stories around all of these things. I picked up a different, I would say, a smart apparel product, and I, for some reason, smelt it, and I had to throw it away immediately. They had used a particular type of rubber and plastic that just was never going to fly with someone who does a yoga practice where my body is very, I would say, manipulated around myself. Think about all of these senses all the time because they are extraordinarily powerful. Touch on the body is the 3rd fastest reaction time that you can have. The first 2 are smell and taste. Then it's touch, then it's sight and sound. So the way we think about designing is sort of almost reversed. We've got so much pollution now visually that we have to think about how we design for those other senses. We're also very much human beings. We love discovery. And I would say putting things in plain English sometimes isn't what we want. We want the discovery. We want the thing to work towards. And designing that both into your space as well as into your products is going to be extraordinarily valuable. And then as someone who designs both hardware, software, and apparel, I have to design for change. Now that sounds like a little bit of a cliche, but the truth of it is if I want to make changes to my products, all I have to do now is update via software. You don't have to buy 300 pairs of yoga pants. You can have the 3 that you need for the week, and you can update the software every month if you would like, which means that you get added features. We have to now think about designing for change in a world where sustainability is becoming more and more important. Now these are my big personal ones, but this is how I've always had to be able to deal with our customers. When they come in and when they try the pants for the first time, I've never seen so many faces light up as I do when they try and feel those vibes. For me, the most important part about that experience of understanding our customer is asking empathetic questions. And that means, what does this customer really want to get out of this experience, whether she is shopping, whether he is working out, or whether it's a combination of the two. If you're not truly asking empathetic questions, you're not going to get the answers that make the best product or experience. And then from a Wearable X and a Nadiacts perspective, we have to listen and we have to feel. At Wearable X, we have been on a wild journey, building many products for many, many people over time. In fact, the way we started was by building vibrating underwear for couples in long-distance relationships. Yes, and I didn't include pictures of that product. but it was a product and a campaign that went truly viral. We had 8 million hits on YouTube within the first 2 days and 55,000 requests for the product, and it was an amazing journey and experience. But people were excited because it offered something truly unique and different that allowed for those senses to be designed for. Following that, we actually built some really interesting fan jersey products for Fox Sports in Australia, where you could feel the live sports data. So whether you're watching at home or in the stadium, you could feel the heartbeat and adrenaline of your favorite players. We then came over and did that in the US with Bud Light and Pepsi. We did it with the Rugby Sevens team in the Netherlands. And then we really focused on building a product that was a platform. So the way we have built our haptic technology into apparel now is a platform that is manipulatable across many, many products. Whether it is a jersey or a shirt that reminds you to roll your shoulders back and down. Whether it is an experience for running or cycling or golfing. In fact, when you do yoga and golf at the same time, it's guaranteed to improve your swing. There is so much to be benefited from if you listen to your body with new forms of technology. So thank you very much. It's a delight to be here. I think we're doing Q&A? Yeah. Do you want me to point?
So my assumption would be that given that it's a logged-in environment within the app and you're able to map somebody's body via the sensors, is there anything you're doing to monetize the data that you're receiving right now?
At the moment, no. In the long term, potentially. Some of what I really believe in, I would say, as part of what we want to build in this ecosystem, is having the customer decide where that data goes. And I think that is fundamentally important to how everyone builds everything, and also to very much meet GDPR compliancy. But I think that it can be built in a way that is really very meaningful. And we haven't yet been doing that because I want to make sure that it's structured in a way that is powerful for the customer.
So one of the things we know about gym memberships here in the United States is people join, but then they sort of taper off and don't actually go. In tracking the data of your people that have bought the pants, have they tapered off? Or do they continue? And then what can you do to try to obviously keep someone, maybe if it's a beginner who's not liking the feedback they're getting because maybe they can't pose, do that? And how are you thinking about that customer?
Yeah. So we have really interesting usage inside our software. The average time in the app is between 15 and 20 minutes, and they use it before 7 a.m., at 2 p.m., and again after 7 p.m. So they're actually using it at times of days when the studios aren't open. And it seems like that's a need that is being met. They're not doing a full 40 minutes or even a full 90 minutes. They're doing the poses that they know their body really needs to work on. Something that we're hearing from these customers is that they do have injuries and that they are concerned about hurting themselves, and that's why they haven't been pushing themselves to classes. So that's part of why we're building in these injury prevention features. In terms of retention, we're at about 30% retention, which is reasonably high actually for the industry in terms of a fitness app. We will be building out a subscription model, which will be $12.99 a month. But we will not do that until we hit the exact retention that I am looking for, where we can flip the switch properly.
Hi, very interesting presentation, thank you. My sister's a yoga instructor in downtown Phoenix, and I was curious, have you gotten any negative feedback from yogis concerned about putting electronics on their body during their practice?
For sure. I think with anything new, you're always going to have people who are scared, and I understand that. What we have to do is do emissions tests. So even when a smartphone is created, it has an emissions test, and basically your smartphone skyrockets off that scale. It has a huge amount of emissions. Our product doesn't even make the scale. So to calm your nerves around having electronics on the body, if you're carrying a smartphone in your handbag or pocket, it's far more dangerous than wearing our products. So that is definitely something that we educate our instructors and our mentors and our influencers that we work with around. What we have seen is that the traditional yogis, like hyper traditional yogis, most of them being in California actually, they are a little tentative. But when they try the product, they have a huge change of opinion. Everyone is tentative when they see things online and read a TechCrunch article, but because I'm very particular about having these people then come and experience and meet us and give us their concerns so that we can make sure we're working on them. And I would say we've converted most of those pessimistic customers into optimists within like a week.
Billie,
Yeah.
thanks for being here, first of all. And for our students in particular who can look up at you and say, I could be like her someday, what would you say to them about starting a business, getting a business from just 6 years ago to where you are today? What advice would you give to them?
I mean, how much time you got? There are some really big learnings. I'm almost delighted that I was a little bit ignorant to how hard it was going to be, because I think that helped me keep going in the first at least 3 years. I really did have an insane amount of drive, but I wouldn't be worried if you don't have that all the time. I think that we, especially in America, we tell ourselves we have to like work till we die. I don't actually think that's healthy. I think it's, have the drive, but use it and execute it when the time is right, because you'll know. There'll be nights when you have to pull those all-nighters, and you sort of have to be able to have the steam to do that. When it comes to like raising money, I've certainly had my fair share of experiences. I have a spreadsheet of over 500 investors, and I have 3. So it takes a lot of no's to get 3 yeses. I'm very happy with the investors that I have. They're like truly been wonderful for my business. But it means you have to go and meet those 500 other people who are going to say no. So you need a thick skin, and you also really need to know your data. Yeah. For sure. Thank you.